Okay, everybody. So we've talked a lot about investing and getting into the stock market. And we know that investing in the stock market is the absolute best way for you to get what you want out of life. It's the best way for you, or maybe not the best way, but one of the best ways for you to build wealth. A lot of American wealth, a lot of wealth in this country has been built from people who buy into the stock market. Now, the thing about buying into the stock market is that the stock market is not a place to gamble. It's not a place where you just are going to make money overnight. It's not a get rich quick kind of place. It is a place where you do a couple of things. You buy something and you hold it. You buy it and you hold it. And what happens is if you hold a bunch of stocks over a long period of time, history, according to history, you almost always make more money than you spent. So that means that if you invest consistently, let's say $50 a month, $100 a month, $200 a month into the stock market, and you're just buying different stocks, whatever stocks you decide to pick, you're going to accumulate wealth. The key to wealth accumulation is consistency. That means doing the same thing over and over and over again until you accumulate something that is worth having. Now, I'm going to show you on this little account that I put together just for teaching purposes. It shows you. I'm going to show you exactly how to buy your first share of stock. Exactly. Now, what do we have here? We're at Ameritrade.com, which is a website where you can buy stocks. I'm not saying Ameritrade is the only place or the best place you can buy stocks. There are lots of places you can buy stocks, but this is one place where you can do that. Now, if you look down on this page, a lot of times there's always information. They tell you about different what they call trading platforms. You can open up a new account right here. I already have an account, so I'm not going to worry about opening the account. If you're under 18, if you're a child, you have to get the account opened by your parents, but they can open an account in your name and help you put money into your account. So if you are getting allowance money every week, you could say, "Hey, Mama, can you put $20 a month of my allowance money into the stock market?" And maybe if your parents really want you to invest, they might double it. They might match. That's what I used to do with my kids. We would match the amount of money they saved up. So that means if you save 20, I'll throw in 20, and then we buy shares of stock. Now, there's more information down here, all kinds of stuff. You got services, tools and platforms, investment products, pricing, retirement, education, research. That means there's a lot of investing education right there on the website that you can get. So you should, the key is, as they say here, information is power. So you should not be afraid of information. You should not be afraid to learn. You should not feel that because you don't know how to do something, that you can never know how to do something. You see, a lot of people run away from the things that scare them. They run away from the things they don't know how to do. You shouldn't be running away from the things you don't know how to do. You should be running toward the things you don't know how to do so you can learn how to do them. So here you will put in your username and your password, and I've already got that in here, so I'm going to log in. So you put that at the top. So you log in just like you log into a regular website. Now I'm going to show you some of my personal business here. This is the account that we created so I can teach students how to buy shares of stock in the Black Wealth Bootcamp and the blackbusinessschool.com. Now here you can see, if you look at this, they give you an overview of your account. Now this is where you can find out all the information. You see in this account, we bought different shares of stock. We have about $14,283.39 in this particular account. You notice here, this green is good in Ameritrade because green means you made money that day. So today we made $236 on our portfolio. A portfolio, if you recall from the class, is a collection of different investment assets. So we have a collection of stocks. So we have a portfolio here. You can go further down. They give you market snapshots. Look at this: 6 stocks moving in Monday's after-hours session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average. That is one measuring stick that is used to decide how well the stock market is doing. All it is really is just an average price movement of a bunch of different stocks. They take a whole bunch of different stocks that are in this group that they pick. It's about 30 different stocks, and they say, well, how did the average stock do in this group? And if the average stock went up, or if most of the stocks went up, then that means that the Dow average went up, the Dow Industrial Average. The NASDAQ If you remember in the class, we talked about different stock markets. The NASDAQ is one of the stock markets. You have the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ are the two biggest markets in the world. And then you have the London Stock Exchange and the Nikkei index in Japan. Those are the third and fourth biggest in the world. Over here, it shows you your account balance. The account has $14,000, and we have about $2,000 in cash. So you see cash and cash alternatives. That means that's money that we have to invest with. That's money. So we're about to go make it rain up in here. We're about to go buy us some shares of stock, and we got $2,000 to play with. And instead of spending $2,000 on clothes or on shoes or on a new car where the money's going to disappear, we're going to take that $2,000 and we're going to put it, not all of it, some of it, we're going to put it in some shares of stock that we want to buy so that we can allow our wealth to grow. You've got this little doc here where they got other information you can get on what the different indexes are doing, a watch list, and it lists all the different stocks you own so you can kind of watch them. So you see here we own shares of Netflix. You see Netflix dropped a little bit today. Netflix hasn't done so well. I bought Tesla because I like Elon Musk, and I like he's a visionary who wants to go to Mars, and I respect him. He runs the company, and so I just bought Tesla because I like his company. We bought Facebook because everybody's on Facebook. So, hey, if you're going to make Facebook rich, maybe Facebook can make you rich. So, as you can see, we only own about 19 shares of Facebook, which is a little less than about $2,000 worth of Facebook stock. We'll see that in a minute. GE, General Electric, ROIAK is Radio One. If you hover over the stock, it'll show you what the stock's been doing. So Radio One is interesting because that's the only black-owned publicly traded company in America. We just bought those shares just so we could, say that we owned it. And you see the stock hasn't done so good, to be honest with you. I think over the last few months, let me see. Let me click on this a little bit so we can see what Radio One's been doing. So let's see. Let's try this. All right, here we go. Okay, so it's coming up on the screen. It's coming up a little bit slow. You can see Radio One over the last, you can see here what it'll show you what the stock did over the day, the last 2 days, 5 days, 1 month, etc. So I encourage you when you start your account, get in here and kind of play around with it, just kind of mess with it. So if you look at the last month, you see Radio One kind of went up a little bit, and the green means it went up. Red is like, red is bad, right? We look back the last 3 months, you see that it's really, really been dropping. So maybe we're going to look out. Maybe it's a good investment because it's been dropping over the last 3 months, and maybe that's a good time to buy. But you see over the last 6 months, you look at that, it's been dropping. The thing about stocks, though, is that you can't predict the future price based on what it's done in the past. So I don't want you to think that because a stock has been dropping that makes it a bad investment. That might actually make it a good investment. And I also don't want you to think that because a stock's been rising that it's a good stock to buy. There's what they call in finance, they call it a random walk theory. A random walk theory. Now, what does that mean? Random walk is like, basically it means that you can't not predict what a stock price is going to do the next week or the next day. You really have no idea of knowing like exactly what a particular stock is going to do, in the near future. Let me turn this thing off. All this little stuff is on my screen, kind of interrupting what we're doing. So the thing is, I'm not worried about the fact that it's been going down. I see it as like, hey, maybe it's going to come back up, or maybe it's a good thing to own. But the thing about it is, when you buy a stock, you want to kind of hold on to it forever anyway, or not forever, but for a very long time. You don't want to go buy stuff and then try to sell it right away. You just buy it and you hold it. And this gives you other information about the stocks. I'm not going to go into all this because there's a lot of detailed information here, and over time you'll learn all these things. If you stay in the Black Business School, we'll teach you all these things. We can teach you what the earning EPS is, what the price earnings ratio represents, etc. Because there's a lot of interesting theory behind this stuff, fundamentals, valuation, etc. You see, there's so much information here, and the key thing is that you should realize that when you log in, when you get one of these accounts, they want you to get information because they want you to invest more money. So there's plenty of learning tools. You got research and ideas here is one thing. You can hover over this and see all kinds of stuff. Planning and retirement here, education here, all kinds of stuff you can read to get better at it. Client services, they help you with everything. So let's go in here. Let's make this trade. Let's go ahead and make it rain. Okay. So what we would do is if we want to buy a share of stock, First off, I want to look at my positions. Let's look at what we already own. So we go to my account, positions, and let's see what we got here. Okay, we got 115 shares of General Electric. The price is $30. The value is $3,288. Or excuse me, that was the cost. The cost was $32.88. The market value is 34.83. So you can see we made a little money on GE. The stock market's had a rough haul the last few months, to be honest with you. Like the last couple months, it's been just getting its butt kicked. But that's why you hold stocks for a long period of time, because if the market drops for a while, so what? You're in it for the long haul. If you hold a portfolio of stocks over, say, a 30-year period, most of the time you're going to make money. So that's the key. The key to investing and building wealth is not to think about getting rich quickly. You want to get rich slowly. That is your goal. So we own some GE, we own some Facebook, we own some Netflix. So let's see here. Let's go buy. Let's decide what I don't know what we're going to buy. Let's see. Let's look at trade. And to buy, we can go to buy or sell. Here we got stocks and ETFs. ETFs are exchange traded funds. Then you have options. You don't really mess with options right away. You can also buy mutual funds, which we'll talk about what mutual funds are. You can buy bonds and CDs. You can buy futures and Forex. Forex stands for foreign exchange. And then they got these trading platforms you can buy into, but don't worry about that. So we're going to go to buy, sell, which means we can buy or sell. Now, here's the thing about buying a stock. Every stock has a 3-digit ticker symbol. A ticker symbol is basically the 3 letters that represent that stock on the market, right? So the thing is, you don't look up a stock by the name of the company. You look up the stock by the ticker symbol. Now, let's say I'm trying to think about a company that we can buy. Let's see here. I don't know. Everybody uses Twitter, so let's go with Twitter. Why not? Why not? Okay. So let's say we want to buy some shares of Twitter. Okay, so we hit buy, sell, and then we got to figure out what Twitter's ticker symbol is. So here we would hit buy, but we don't know the symbol. So here they've got symbol lookup. So I'm going to go look up Twitter's ticker symbol. So I hit symbol lookup, and I type in TWITTER, Twitter. Now watch what happens. Watch the magic. Watch the magic happen. So you see Twitter, TWTR, that's the ticker symbol. Twitter Inc. You see here, it says exchanges on the New York Stock Exchange, right? So TWTR. So let's remember that, TWTR. So let's close this up and put in TWTR. And then let's say, and I think Twitter's, and look at this. It shows you the price right there, $19.36. Now, pay attention to this. I want you to pay attention to this. Everybody thinks that you got to be rich to buy stocks. A lot of people think you got to have $1 million and investing in stocks is for wealthy people. Twitter stock is $19.36. You can't even go and buy your friend a meal at Applebee's for $19.36. $19.36 is less than the cost of a pair of shoes. But you see people buy shoes all the time, buy hats and coats and gloves and Gucci and Prada and cars and whatever, and just wasting it on nonsense when you could buy a share of stock that's in your family for the next 100 years. You understand? So what you got to do is, it doesn't mean you can't consume. You can't go buy stuff, but you got to know how to make sure you always plant something for the future. Always take a little bit of your money, 20%, 15%, whatever you can do, and buy some shares of stock so you can build something. So you don't have to start all over again every time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in here, and since the shares are 1936, let's go ahead and big ball. Let's buy 25 shares. We're going to buy 25 shares of stock. So when we buy these shares of stock, what does that mean? That means that we own 25 little pieces of Twitter. Now, I don't know how many shares Twitter has outstanding. So let's go to Google and let's see how many. Now remember, we were talking earlier about what a share of stock is. A share of stock is basically a slice of the company. It's like a big cake where there's a million slices. So what we can do is say go to Google, which Google is better than any university ever because Google is a place you can learn and get information very quickly. So you might say something like, how many shares outstanding does Twitter have? Now let's see what Google knows everything. Look at this. Twitter will have 544.7 million shares of common stock outstanding. So basically, they have 500 million, 544 million shares out. So that's like a cake with 544 million shares, or 544 million pieces. So if you wanted to figure out the value of Twitter, you could take 544 million and multiply it by $19.36. Now you've also got some other stuff, but I won't go into that other information. But here you can see that Twitter is valued at $17 billion, but that was in 2003. Actually, I think the value has dropped, but that doesn't matter. If you want to figure out the value of a company, all you do is you take the number of shares of stock outstanding that they have, meaning the number of slices of the cake, and you multiply by the price per share. So if I wanted to get an estimate of how much Twitter is worth or get some sort of guess, I would take 544 million, multiply it by $19.36. That'll get me pretty close to the value. It's not totally accurate because you got some other stuff in here too, but that's pretty close. Okay, so you're not getting, 25 shares may sound like a lot, but really it's a tiny piece. But you are an owner. You are an owner. You are connected to a major corporation. When Twitter's making money, you're making money. That's the key. That's the pride. That's what should make you proud. Even if you only have 25 shares, well, guess what? You come back later, you can buy another 10 shares and another 20, another 30. Then maybe you'll own 1,000. Then you'll own 3,000. Then 5,000 or whatever. But 25 shares, that's about. I don't know. We'll see how much money it is, how much it costs. So let's move on. Okay. So order type. They got two types of orders. They got limit orders and market orders. A limit order means that you can, that's right here where I'm circling my cursor. A limit order means that you tell them, I will only buy the stock if it hits a certain price. So let's say the price is $19.36. You might put a limit order that says, I'll buy it if the price is at or below $20. Or I'll buy it if the price is at or below $18.50. So, or whatever. So you can pick a price. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do what they call a market order, which means whatever it's selling at, we'll buy it. Because remember, as we were talking about in class, when you buy a share of stock, it does not happen instantaneously. It does not happen right away. It happens after the order goes to the stock exchange, and it gets sent to through the computer to the stock exchange. Somebody gets the order, and they have to go down to the floor of the exchange. They have to go down there where every stock is being traded, and they have to say, we want 25 orders of Twitter, and they have to buy the Twitter from somebody else who owns it, right? So it's just like a grocery store. If you go to a grocery store and you buy grapefruits, somebody has to go up to the person with the grapefruit and offer them money and get the grapefruit put in their hand, right? Or like a flea market or something. Maybe a grocery store isn't perfect, but you get what I'm saying. So time and force means how long do you want this order to be open? Because sometimes an order in the stock market cannot be fulfilled right away. It may take a day or 2 or 3. So you could actually hit this, and you could say, I want it to last for 24 hours, or I want it to last until the market closes. So let's say it's 1 o'clock and the stock market closes at 4:30. Well, if the order doesn't get filled by 4:30, then the order won't be executed. And so what you do is you end up checking to see if the order is executed in your account. Just because you bought the stock does not mean that the order was actually went through. So here, let's do this. Let's review our order and make sure it looks right. Okay, so let's see. Buy 25 shares of Twitter. It's a day, time and force for a day. Estimated total is $503.75. So let's go ahead and play. We can change the order or do not place, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and place the order. And boom. So what's going to happen here is this. When it gives you the order status, that's when it tells you that the order is not fulfilled. Now, there was actually an order we placed in class not too long ago that's still not filled yet. But here's one. Here's another one. Here's the Twitter order. So you see it's open. So when the order is open, that means that it's not actually fulfilled. So what you want to do is you want to come back later and make sure that it's open. I tend to like to buy stocks during the day, because usually if you buy it during the day, say between 9:30 a.m. and maybe 3, it'll be executed really fast. So you can come back 5 minutes later and it'll say order fulfilled. But here it's not fulfilled because it's nighttime when I'm doing this video. But I wanted you guys to just see how easy it is to buy a share of stock. So do you understand how simple it is to go and buy and sell stock? It's really not that hard. One other thing about your account. So we've already placed the order. This is done. We don't have to do this anymore. But let me show you this. Let's see. If you want to put money in your account, you can link it to your bank account. So here you can do, if you go to my account, you go over here to cash transfers, scheduled transfers, account bank setup. You can have it linked to a bank account. So again, if you're under 18, you'd have to have your parents do that for you, but they can open an account for you and link it, to that account for you. Also, if you want to schedule transfers, you can have it scheduled where you'll have a certain amount of money taken out every week or every 2 weeks, so that money goes into your portfolio. That's what I suggest, because then you're automatically, you got a system. You got a system. You see, you build your life on systems and repetition. So that's what you want to do. Remember, wealth accumulation is a consistent process where you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then eventually, before you know it, you're sitting on a bunch of cash, right? So that's pretty much how you buy a share of stock. It's really not that hard. I hope this video was helpful to you. So what I want you to do is, the soonest you can, go open you an account on Ameritrade. If you're under 18, get your parents to do it. If you're over 18, because I know a lot of parents are watching this video too, even though I'm making it for the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program. The parents, if you don't have an account, go ahead and get one. Get one for yourself. Get one for your child. You can have separate accounts, but you can control both of them. But just go ahead and make that part of your family culture. And here's the fun thing too. Talk about the companies that you own. Look on the internet. Like, for example, so let's say I own Twitter. So I might look up Twitter stock and just go to Google and say, how's Twitter stock doing? How did my company do today? The company I own. How are we doing in terms of money? Well, I can go to Twitter and I can see, okay, look, Twitter, okay, here's the basic information, New York Stock Exchange, Twitter, blah, 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 blah. Okay, Twitter went down a little bit. It went down 21 cents today. Okay, no problem. All right, so let's look at it over a 5-day period. But you see over 5 days, it's going up, up, up. Now, over the last month, I think Twitter, yep, look at that. Over the month, so you could have bought down here at 14.19. Now it's up to 19.15. But let's look at 3 months. Okay, 3 months, though, has been dropping. And I think over the last year, Twitter's been dropping. So you see Twitter was actually up as high as 52, but now it's down at 19.36. But I really believe in the long term, I think Twitter's going to do better, but you never know. So you see here, over 5 years, you see Twitter's had a rough ride. So that's the thing. And I think it's important to really see this, because it shows you also that every company you buy is not going to always be a winner right off the bat, and not every company is going to be a winner right away. Some companies have a struggle. The reason I tend to just like Twitter is, number one, because a lot of my friends use it and I use it, so I might as well own a piece of it to add to my portfolio. But then number two, Twitter has a lot of cash, and a business that has a lot of cash has a lot of advantages over businesses that don't have cash. When you have a lot of cash, what that does is that allows your company to have time where it can make some mistakes and have some bad years and lose a little bit of money and still be okay. More businesses fail due to a lack of cash than fail due to a lack of making a profit or a lack of profitability. So just keep that in mind as you start your own business, which everybody listening to this video at some point should either start a business or you should buy a piece of somebody else's business. Don't let anybody tell you that everybody can't own something. Everybody can own something. I just showed you how for $500 I own 25 shares of Twitter, and I could have done that for $19.36. So everybody should own something. So keep that in mind. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.